Welcome, Money Guy family. It's your host, Brian Preston, back with a special episode of Ask the Money Guy with Bo Hansen.
That's right. You guys have financial questions. We've got your financial answers. You can go out to your favorite social, use the hashtag AskTheMoneyGuy, or you can leave a comment in the comments below, or you can go to our website, moneyguy.com, and we'll answer your questions.
It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
So, Brian, this is sort of a current events question. We've gotten this a lot through our live stream, and we've had a lot of clients ask about this question. And it generally goes something like this. Hey, guys, I hear that this thing, the Secure Act, has passed. Does that mean now I should switch from doing pre-tax contributions in my 401k to Roth contributions in my 401k?
And it is, look, this is one of those, we just got through, this is why it's a special edition of Ask the Money Guys. So we're not in the car because we just got through doing a live stream. This thing was blowing up the questions in there in the comments section. So this is not our deep dive. We are going to do a deep dive show on what the Secure Act actually means for you and the planning. But we want to get some information out there just because I know a lot of people are going to be concerned about this. Do I do pre-tax? Do I do Roth?
How should I change my strategy?
Because there's two things people are really worried about. They're worried about, okay, required minimum distributions went from 70 and a half to 72, and now the stretch is gone. And what people, if you didn't know, the stretch meant you used to could base, your beneficiaries could inherit your retirement accounts and then base the withdrawals off of their life expectancies. So that was huge because it might mean that a person inheriting their assets in their 40s might only have to take a very small percentage out, and for years and decades, I mean, it really allowed the compounding effect to really be powerful. A lot of that's changed.
That's right. The big change is now, instead of the stretch IRA, you have to actually distribute the assets inside of 10 years. So you can imagine very quickly a 20-year-old who inherits $1 million account would much rather stretch that over their life expectancy than having to pull all that money out inside of a 10-year window.
So we're going to do a deep dive on the Secure Act in a upcoming episode. But, Bo, let's talk about the pre-tax versus after-tax, specifically with like retirement savings and things like that. What should be the driving factor now?
I think the big takeaway is that the advice hasn't really changed. We think that your tax circumstance should inform how you make that decision. And here's our really loose rule of thumb. If you look at your total effective tax rate or your total marginal tax rate across your federal as well as your state, if it's below 25% and you're younger, there's a pretty good chance that you ought to be taking advantage of Roth because tax rates for you are very low historically. If, however, you add your federal, you add your state, and you're above 30%, you should probably be doing pre-tax because the tax benefit is so significant this year, you might not want to walk away from it. If you're someone who falls in that middle range, between 25%, between 30%, it's a little more nuanced and there are some different factors that come into play. So that's where you might want to reach out to get some counsel from a professional advisor to help you decide, do I do pre-tax, do I do Roth?
Perfect answer, and I just want to give a little context, is that what this means, young people, whether you're living or you're dead, which is kind of what the Secure Act is worried about, is that stretch after you're gone. Roth and tax-free growth, pretty powerful if you're in a low tax rate because you want that. We know how powerful that compounding growth. If you're in a higher income situation, that's why we say 30% if you take into account your federal plus your state income taxes. Your hope and prayer is that as you get older, you might be able to manipulate, while you're living, manipulate your income tax rate to where you can take it at a lower rate than 30%. That's really what's behind all of this discussion. So let's talk about this. Now let's flip the script because we kind of answered the question, but I want to give people a little tidbit of what they might get in the bigger episode. How should they think about this from an estate planning perspective?
Yeah, the big thing is very generally speaking, inheriting Roth assets is almost always more advantageous for beneficiaries than inheriting pre-tax assets because they get to take distributions tax-free. All the Secure Act did is really kind of just solidify that even more. Roth assets generally tend to be a lot more valuable for beneficiaries than pre-tax assets. So what that means for you, if you are the person building the wealth, thinking about passing it on to future generations, is you probably do, as you age, want to start thinking about advanced techniques or advanced strategies like maybe Roth conversions before you get to age 72 and have to start taking your required minimum distributions. If you can have a landing path to begin controlling what your taxes will be when you hit RMD age, you will stay in much more control of your overall lifetime tax paid.
So think about that. You just went from 70 and a half. We were always trying to do kind of Roth conversion strategies for late 50s, early 60s. and all through the 60s till you hit 70. Now we get an extra year and a half to 72. That's a good thing.
Yep.
Also, all of our working people who now are working past 70 and a half, they get to make contributions. There's another plus. But here's the last thing I want to close this out with. Here's something to pay attention to. And I say it all the time on the show, but now it just gets even more important. Pay attention to asset location of your investments. Because what this shows me, if they're not going to give us the stretch, they're not going to give us the tax benefits within the retirement accounts, put those tax location by putting like bonds and low interest, things that pay interest or taxed at ordinary income. Put those things in the tax deferred account so that growth, that's going to be kind of at a slower pace anyway. So then you can turbocharge your after tax and your tax-free Roth assets. So you're kind of winning the equation altogether. That's what you got to pay attention to. Well, like I said, big deeper dive, but we just wanted to pop some of those questions out of the way for those of you who are curious, who needed to know what does it mean with the Secure Act. We got a lot more coming your way. We just want to kind of give you a taste of what we're thinking about.
If you have a question about what's going out there in the financial world or something about your specific situation, feel free to ask us. You can leave a comment in the comments below. You can go to our website, moneyguy.com, and ask us a question there. Or you can go out to your favorite social, use the hashtag AskTheMoneyGuy, and we will answer your questions.
Money Guy team, out.